Okay, so let's have a quick recap what we have discussed in the last session. In the last session, we have just given introduction about Azure. In today's session, we are going to learn about how to create our Azure account. But before starting out this particular topic, any question anyone have, please raise your hand. Anyone have any question? Okay. Look like no one has any questions. So let's start with the today's topic where we are going to learn about how to create our Azure account. Now, to create your Azure account, you can use any of your personal email address. It can be Yahoo, it can be Gmail, any of your personal email address you can use. To create your Azure account, you have to go to this particular link, which is given here. Once you go to this particular link, you have to click on Start Free. So once you click on Start Free, you will move to this particular page where you have to click on Create One. Once you click on Create One, you have to give your email address. So whatever the email address you are going to use, that particular email address you are going to enter here. And then click on Next. Once you click on Next, you have to give the password. It can be any minimum 8 characters long password you can give here. Once you give the password, you have to click on Next. And the password which you are going to give in that one, it can be one upper, one lower, one number or alphanumeric characters. Out of these four, three of the following things you have to use. One upper, one lower, one number, and one alphanumeric characters. Out of these four of the following things, three things you have to use, and your password must be minimum 8 characters long. And then click on Next. Now, once you click on Next, they will send you one OTP, one code they are going to send to verify your email address. That particular code you have to enter here to verify your email address. So once you get the code, you can enter it and click on Next. Once you click on Next, you have to give your personal details. Your first name, your middle name, or last name. Email address, they will automatically pick from the last step here, but you have to provide these three details. And then scroll down. Once you scroll down, you have to enter the phone number. You don't have to enter the country code, just phone number, because in the previous step, they are going to pick the country here. So you don't have to enter the country code, just your phone number. And here you have to verify your phone number. And to verify your phone number, there are two steps you have it. One is by using call, one is by using text message. So whichever you want to use, you can choose the option to verify your mobile number, because whatever the option you're going to choose, again, they will send you one code, and that particular code you have to enter to verify your mobile number. Once you verify your mobile number, you have to enter your address details. So whatever your address you have it as per your bank, you have to mention here. Address line 1, address line 2, 3, then city, your state, postal code. Postal code means PIN code, or some people all call it as zip code also. So you have to enter here. And then there are two check boxes you can check, and then click on next. Now, once you click on next, you have to provide your card details. Now, it doesn't mean that you provide your card details, they will automatically deduct the money from your account. It's not like that. They are not going to deduct automatically money. You have to give the constraint to them. Then they are going to deduct if you get a bill. But eventually, I have that free quota. So if you're using under that free quota, you will not get any bill. So your card holder name, card number, expiry date, and CVV. Azure account does not support RuPay card. In India, few people have RuPay cards. Azure does not support RuPay card. It supports only Visa and MasterCard. You can enter any debit card or credit card here. And those people are from India. By default, in India, cards are disabled with international transactions. So for entering the card details, you have to enable the international transactions. And that you can check your mobile banking app. In that one, you have an option to enable the international transactions. You can enable from there. So once you enable those international transactions, then you can enter your card details. And to verify your card details, they are going to deduct $1 or 2 rupees from your account. And the amount they are going to deduct to verify your card, that particular amount you will get receive in 3 to 5 working days. So it means to create your Azure account, you have to pay 0 rupees, because that particular amount you will get in refund. Now, once your card is verified, and this is how your account look likes. And then you have to click on subscriptions. Here you will find your subscription. And you can click on your subscription name. Under that, you will see one type. So right now, if you see here in this screenshot, my subscription name is free trial. Name doesn't matter anything. Name, they can give any name. Even you want to change the name to your subscription, you can change it. Name is not important. What is important? Let me show you. Okay, now here we have subscriptions. Click on subscription. Here we have offer. This offer needs to be free tier. So once you're going to create your account for first 30 days, your subscription offer will be free tier. So if you're getting that free tier one, it means you are getting that quota of that 200 US dollar, or in Indian rupees, it's some 16,000 something you will get. So here, this is important. Don't worry about the name. This is the name. I can change the name. Here we have a rename. The name can be any name. You can change anytime. But the offer is important. This you can't change. This is the offer which you are going to get from their side. And based on the subscription offer, then they are going to charge you. But for first 30 days, they will not charge you because you have that quota. And after 30 days, you have to upgrade your subscription. You have to upgrade your subscription to pay as you go. And if you are under that quota, which I have given you in the yesterday, the details, they will not charge you. And how to upgrade your subscription? There's a self-learning video I have given here, which you can watch once your first 30 days is completed. Then you can watch and then you can upgrade your subscription. You didn't watch right now this video. You can watch this video once your first 30 days are completed. Now, any question anyone have? Please let me know. Okay. No questions? Let's move forward. Now, next thing is marketplace. Now, what is marketplace in Azure? Now, marketplace is an actually online store in our Azure platform we have, where you can get all the Azure services. So I'm going to search marketplace. Here I'm getting just search MAR and I'm getting. Now here, if you see here on left hand side, here we are getting the categories. If you click on that particular category, like I'm going to click on compute, related to compute, it will show us all the services whichever they are providing, whichever is providing by the Azure. Even they are providing those particular service also. And even here we will see the details of the companies whichever they have tie up with Azure. These are all Azure services. With Azure, they are providing other services also which are they have tie up. Now, if I want to see only Azure services, here we have a checkbox. So if I check this checkbox, now it is only showing Azure services related to compute. Here we I can click on like DevOps. I can click just again check Azure services only. Here I'm getting. So for whichever the category you want to find, you can go to that particular category and see those services. But this is the little difficult option. to find that particular service whichever you want to use. So is it mandatory to every time go to marketplace? No. You don't have to go to marketplace every time and get that particular service. Whichever the service you need, you can even directly search here also. You don't have to go to that particular service market. You don't have to go to marketplace and then get that service. Without going to marketplace, also you can get that particular service also. Now, let's take example. I need to go to a service called Virtual Machine Skill Set. So short form is VMSS. See, so when I search VMSS, here I'm getting Virtual Machine Skill Set. So it's not mandatory that I have to go to every time marketplace and then from that marketplace I have to get that particular service. Without going to marketplace, also we can find our Azure service by using the search option. So the search option is really important for us to find any of the Azure service whichever we are going to learn. Now, any question anyone have, please let me know. Okay, no questions. So next thing we are going to discuss about subscription. Subscription is mandatory to have in our Azure account. Without subscription, you can't work on your Azure. Like if you don't have any subscription, you can't create any resource in your Azure. It is mandatory to have one subscription and it needs to be an active subscription. If you don't have a subscription or the subscription is not active, you can't work on Azure. Because to create any of the Azure service, it's mandatory to have a subscription. Because whatever you're going to create, it is going to create under your subscription. And here mention as Azure tenant. Right now, I'm not going to discuss about this Azure tenant. Regarding this, we're going to discuss in our upcoming session once we come to a service called Entra ID service, or I can call it as Active Directory service. That time I'll discuss about tenant, not right now. Now, in this, you will find three types of subscription we have in Azure. One is called free trial subscription, which you'll get for first 30 days. Second is pay as you go. Pay as you go means whatever you're going to use, you have to pay for that. And even after 30 days, your subscription is going to upgrade to pay as you go. Now, it doesn't mean that if you upgrade at pay as you go, you have to pay. No. If you're using under that free quota tier, you don't have to pay anything. But if you're going to exceed the limit, then only you have to pay. And that is for next 12 months you will get. Yes, the account which I am using right now, this account is older than 12 months. So that's why I am getting a bill. Whatever I am using right now, I'm getting a bill for those things. But if you are using the under the 12 months, you will not get any bill. And then the third type of subscription we have in Azure is called as support subscription, or we can call it as member subscription. Now, what is this support subscription? This subscription is only get by companies which where Azure can make a customized subscription for the clients based on the tie-up they can do that with the client, whatever the tie-up they are going to do. Based on that particular tie-up, they will get the subscription. Azure can give up to 72% of the discount to their clients. But yes, if you want to get those discounts, you have to pay amount in advance to them, and you have to make the commitment that this much of minimum you are going to use. This will be your minimum usage, and yes, you have to pay in advance to them. So then they can give you up to 72% of the discount maximum. So those type of subscription for clients can be done from the Azure side. And that type of subscription is called as support subscription. Now, there is one diagram we have right now here. I have given it. Regarding this diagram, right now we are going to learn this particular part. The upper part, this part, we are going to discuss in our upcoming sessions. This part. Once we come to this particular service called Active Directory. Right now, we are not learning about Active Directory. So right now we are learning about this thing. What we are learning, these are actually called as resource group. And under our resource group, we are going to create resources. So the next service which we are going to start right now is virtual machine. We are going to discuss this part now. In our upcoming session, we will discuss about the upper. And one more thing, one Azure account can have a multiple subscriptions also. So in the interview might be they can ask you, can one account can have multiple subscription? Yes, it is possible. One account can have multiple subscription also. But one single Azure resource which you are going to create, that can only have one subscription. You can't create one single resource in multiple subscriptions. A resource means Azure service, whichever you are going to create right now. That can have in only one single subscription. You can't keep it in multiple subscription. Now, before moving forward to our service called virtual machine, the first service, anyone wants to ask any question, please let me know. Anyone have any question? Yes, you can unmute.
As you said now, one single account having the multiple subscriptions. Can you give
Yes.
us some examples?
What example you want me to give in this? Like
I mean, one
can
single account will be having.
have multiple subscriptions also. Like one have like I can have one pay as you go subscription, and one I can have a tie up with Azure. They give me a customized subscription.
Okay.
So multiple subscription I can have in my account. Even if I want to add more, I can click add here. I can try to add, but it's not going to add because I'm not eligible for any other subscription. One is already added, pay as you go. And even if you have a student email address from colleges, like if I talk about in US, college students get their email address. So if you won't have that email address, you can use it. You will get a Azure student discount also. So that one
Mhm.
subscription also you can add. Or here we have some other offers also. But so if I'm eligible, I can add these subscriptions so I can get a discount from their side. Okay.
Okay.
Anyone have any more question? Yes, you can.
Hi, Ankit. My question is when it is coming to real time in the project, how the
Mm,
requirement will come. For example, now we are creating as a virtual machine. So virtual
mm.
machine will contain, is a mission, is like a virtual machine. In that we need to install database. So we need to take another service, or maybe part of mission we can get it.
It depend on client to client. Whatever the requirement you will get, you have to follow that requirement.
Okay.
Whatever as per their requirement. Usually, we are not installing database in virtual machine because in Azure we have a separate service. We don't have to install databases.
Okay. As
But
an
your client
administrator,
want, yes, it can
yeah,
be
can be okay. As an administrator, just we need to configure the services. We need to hand out to the particular team. That's all.
correct. But I didn't see any time any client is using installing database in virtual machines because we have a separate services in Azure. We can use those. Those are better services rather than installing in virtual machines.
Oh,
Okay.
got it. Thank you.
Yes, you can.
Okay, in virtual machines, can we use as a, like our physical machines? Like we can install the SQL Server, we can install the whatever the databases we want, right?
Anything,
Yeah,
anything, whatever you want to install, you can. There is no restriction. It's like a blank machine you can create, and then whatever you want to install, you can install. There is no restriction from their side.
yeah. That virtual machine based upon our requirement, we can increase the resource and we can decrease the resource, right?
But you can't decrease the hard disk size once it's increased.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
Okay.
CPU and RAM is possible, you can decrease, but hard disk you can't decrease.
Yeah. That means resources means it's like uh, processors and the memory, right?
CPU and RAM, correct.
Yeah, yes, CPN. Yeah,
Those you can increase anytime.
yeah,
Any minute you can increase, any minute you can decrease.
yeah. We can scale up and scale down. Yeah, got it.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone have any more question? Okay, no question. Now, I'm enabling the chat box. I have few questions. You can send your answers in chat box. Whenever any person is going to buy a computer, what are the basic thing any person is going to check? He person don't have any technical law. Very basic. What a person is going to check whenever he's going to buy a computer. Just send me your answers in chat box. Okay, I got few answers. Correct. Definitely they are going to check RAM. They are going to check hard disk size. They are going to check CPU. One more thing he is going to check. Very important. Other than these three, a very basic thing person is very that's basic thing. Don't go in much technical, guys. But don't go in much technical. Just very basic thing. Three, I have written one more. We need. Now I got the correct answer. Operating system. Operating system person is going to check which operating system they are giving. Definitely that basic thing the person is going to get whenever he's buying the computer, desktop or laptop, whatever it is. So same way, whenever we want to create a virtual machine in Azure, we have to follow these are the four things. But before that, what is virtual machine actually? Virtual machine, I can say, is like a computer to us, which we are not going to create in our local thing. It's going to create on Azure servers. Azure servers, we are going to create on a virtual server. So I can say it's a physical computer, but on Azure servers, but for us, it's virtually created there. Because can I touch that particular server? No, I can't touch that particular server. That's somewhere, whichever the data center I'm going to select, in that particular data center, they are going to create that particular virtual machine. So I can't touch that particular physical server. So for us, that particular machine which we are going to create, it's a virtual server, virtual machine. And it's same like a computer, like the computer which I'm using with a configuration. With same configuration, I can create there also. Based on my requirement, I can create there. So whatever our requirement, we can create a computer, and under that particular computer, under that machine, we can do anything, whatever we want. And Azure support, these are some of the operating system like Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, CentOS, Debian, Oracle Linux. These are the few operating system support by the Azure. Now, so I already log into my Azure account. Now, go to virtual machine. So search virtual machine. If you see here in my account, it's showing here also. Why it is showing here? Because it's in recently used. But in your account might be it will not show. So you can search here. VI I'm getting here. You're already able to see one machine which is used for my other batch. So I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to create a new one. Create Azure virtual machine. Now, if you see here, when I click on create, what was the first thing they have selected? Subscription. And by default, they have selected that particular subscription. Did I select? No, because subscription is mandatory thing. And whatever the star things are there, those are the things which are mandatory. And this is the first time we are learning something. And right now, we are only going to discuss about some of the basic options right now. We are not going in much more details right now. In our upcoming session, slowly we'll get in much more in depth. So, but this is our first time we are learning something. So we'll only focus on some star mark options. Now, subscription they have automatically selected. Next thing is we have to create a resource group. Because if you see here, after subscription, we have resource group. So we have to create a resource group. But before that, what is resource group? Resource group is a container that holds related resources for an Azure solution. The resource group can contain all the resources for the solution or only those resources that you want to manage as a group. Now, I can say in a simple language, a resource group is like a folder to us. In that particular folder, we can keep multiple files. Like I have a folder called 403. If you see here, I have 3 files. One is text file, one is application, one is PEM file. So in this folder, I have a 3 different types of files. So resource group is also like a folder where we are going to keep all our Azure services. So whatever the Azure services we are going to create, we can keep all those services in our resource group. So I can say resource group actually is a one centralized location where we can see what all Azure services we have created till now. So you don't have to go to different services and check there. But in resource group, you can check. So whenever you're doing practice, it's very easy for you to check what all services you have created. You can check from the resource group. And to create this resource group, there are 2 ways we have. We will learn that. Now, when you create the resource group, resources can only exist in our resource group. Resources means Azure services. Resource group cannot be renamed. Once you create the resource group, you can't change the name of the resource group. Groups can have resources of many different types. Means in one single resource group, you can have a different type of Azure services in one single resource group. It doesn't mean that for every different type of service, you have to create a different resource group. No. In one resource group, you can keep virtual machine also, you can keep database also, you can keep storage also. All the Azure services you can keep in one single resource group also. Groups can have resources from many different regions also. Now, when we are going to create a resource group, we have to select a region, like in which region I'm going to create. But the resource which I'm going to create, like I'm going to create a virtual machine, but I need to create a virtual machine in any other region. Is it possible our resource group in another region and our virtual machine in another region? Yes, it is possible. It is not recommended anytime, but yes, it is possible. That our resource group is from another data center, another region, and our virtual machine or any other service is from another region. It is possible, but not recommended. Now, so how we can create a resource group? One option is I can directly click on create new, give the name, and click on OK. This is one option. Second option is search resource group. Here I'm getting. Click on create. Subscription they have selected. Region I'm getting by default Central India. You want to select any region, you can select any region, whichever you want to select. Now here we have to give the group name. Group name can be any name. It can be your name, my name, XYZ, whatever the name you want to give, you can give it. I'm giving the name group 41. It's not mandatory that you have to be a unique name. It can be any name you can give. In your account, it needs to be unique, not outside of your account. review plus create. Click on create. Now again go to resource group. Here it is. And you can see I got a notification also. So this type of notifications you will get whenever you create any resource. And the quota which you get of 200 US dollars, whenever you use some amount, you will get a notification how much amount is left from that free quota. So you don't have to check anywhere that how much balance is left. You will get a notification for that particular $200 notification. Now go to virtual machine. Create Azure virtual machine. Now here I'm able to see our resource. Now give the name. Name can be any name. VM-4. Done. Scroll down. Region, they have automatically selected Central India. I'm going for it. Now here we have something called availability zone. What is availability zone? Right now we are not discussing about this availability zone. We are going to discuss in our upcoming session. Now we have discussed it that whenever we are going to buy a computer or when we are going to create a virtual machine, we have to follow these are the four things. So operating system, I'm going to use Windows operating system. So in our normal day-to-day language, we call it operating system. Is it the same thing called in Azure also? No. In Azure, we don't call it operating system. In Azure, it is called as image. Yeah, I know that in one day it's not possible for anyone to remember these terminologies. So for first few days, I'm going to use both the terminologies, which is used in Azure also, which is used in our daily language also. But after a few days, I'm only using the terminologies which is used by the Azure because you have to learn those terminologies. Because eventually when you're going for an interview, you have to use those terminologies, which is used in Azure, not in the daily language. So which image I'm going to use? Windows. So scroll down here. Now by default, which image they have given me? Ubuntu Server 1. I don't want to use Ubuntu. I want to use Windows. So he can scroll down. Here you are getting Windows. And even if you see here, for me, it is showing in recently used also. So I'm going to go for the Windows Server 2090. So I have selected my image. So operating system we have selected. Now I need to select CPU and RAM. In Azure, always CPU and RAM is always coming in a combination. So both are coming under one single package. You can't select separate CPU and separate RAM. No, always come under one single package. So let's example, my requirement is one CPU and 1 GB of RAM. Just a very small requirement I have it. I don't need a big one. If I need, I can select a big one also. Or in future, if I want to increase, I can increase anytime. So what we call in Azure, whenever we have to select CPU and RAM, we call it a size. And see here, by default, they have given one CPU and 1 GB of RAM. And every size, whichever we have, every size has a name given by the Azure. Now I'm opening the PPT number 1, which we have used in the last session. And I'm opening the link which we have used in the last session also. Here I have virtual machine Windows. 750 hours per month, and here we have given the sizes actually. B1S, B2 PTS, B2 ATS, B2. These are size. Now, which size by default they are giving us right now? B1S. Standard underscore B1S. And see here, B1S is coming under your free tier. And even when you're going to create your account, in your account, it will mention also a free one, free tier. It will mention here also. In my one, it's not mentioned because my account is older than 12 months. But in your account, it's going to be mentioned there. Even might not mention, but still you can select the B1S, you will not get. Now, if you need more, you can see here we have more. One CPU 3.5 GB, four CPU 16 GB, one CPU 3.5. So you want to see all sizes, you can see all sizes also. 8 CPU 16 GB of RAM, 4 CPU 16 GB of RAM. So we have different series. We have under that series, they have given the type. They have given different size. And if you see here, every size, every type, whichever we have here, mentioned as local storage also. So we are using B1S. With B1S, they have mentioned the 4 GB also. What is this 4 GB? We will discuss in our upcoming session. Just remember it, with the size B1S, they have given local storage as 4 GB. This we will see in our upcoming session when we are going to connect to this machine. That time we will discuss about this 4 GB. But if I'm going to use this size, I'll get 8 GB. If I'm going to use this size, I will get 64 GB. So what is this local storage? We'll discuss later. So right now we have selected a size B1S. We are going with that. So with the size B1S, we will get one CPU and 1 GB of RAM. Now scroll down more. Now here we have to give username and password. Is just creation of machine is our task? No. Even after creation of this machine, we have to connect to that machine. And how we can connect to that machine? By using username and password. And for password, these are the following rules you have to follow. One lower, one upper, one number, and one special character. Out of these four, three of the following things you have to use. And your password must be between 12 and 123 characters long. Now, so I'm giving the username as Azure user. Now, you can't use few usernames like root. If you see here, when I give root, I'm getting as username not include reserved word. So there are some common words. If we use it, they have block those words. You can't use username. Like root is the one is super user, I think. No, super user they don't have. I don't remember those words. I have it. I'll give you the list later. But one is the root one. I know that. But yes, there are some words they are reserved. You can't use it, which are very common. I think admin is also one. Yep. Admin also you can't use it. But I'm giving Azure user. This one is not reserved. So the three things we have to use. You can't use special characters in your username. Now we need to give password. So what's our password? I'm giving here. Done. I have given the password here. Now scroll down. If you see here, by default, they have enabled one port number with the name called RDP. Now, what is this RDP port? We have discussed it. Just creation of our machine is not a task. We have to connect to that machine. To connect to Windows machine, it is mandatory to enable a port number called RDP. If you are not going to enable that particular port number, you can't connect to that machine. And Azure is so smart. By default, they have enabled that particular port number. By default, they have enabled that particular port number. Now, anyone knows the port number for RDP? I'm enabling the chat box. Anyone knows port number for RDP? Every port have a number. Okay, I got few answers. Those are correct. Anyone knows the port number? Anyone else? Okay. Now, whatever the answers I got, those are correct. The correct answer is 3389. If you see here, it's already mentioned here. So you have to remember this port number also. I'm noting down here. RDP 3389. In our upcoming session, we'll discuss some more ports also, which are mandatory for us to connect to machine or to do some other work. So to connect to our Windows machine, it is mandatory to enable RDP port, which is by default enabled. Without enabling of this port number, you can't connect to the Windows machine. Now scroll up. Let's have a quick recap. We have selected our resource group. We have given the name. We have selected the image. We have selected the size. We have given the username. We have given the password. And then we have given the port. And then in the last, we are getting option of licensing. Now, what is this licensing? With the help of this licensing, if you already have Azure server license, because whatever the billing they are showing me, this bill is including the licensing fees also. See, it's mentioned here. It include the licensing fee. But if you have your own existing license, you can provide your license to Azure. They will add that particular license in your subscription, and then you can save up to 49% of the. But right now, if I'm going to check this checkbox, it's not going to reduce because it's not added in my subscription. But they will add in our subscription, and then you can check this checkbox and you can save the money. Now click on next. Now what is this next? We have a disk, hard disk size. Scroll down. By default, how much they are giving us? 127 GB by default. And for Windows operating system, Windows images, maximum 127 GB is coming under your free tier. If you need, you can give more also, but more than 127 GB is not coming under your free tier. If you're going to select more than 127 GB, you will get a bill. So maximum 127 GB is coming under your free tier for Windows images. And here we have some other tabs also: networking, management, monitoring, advanced, tags. Regarding this, we are going to discuss in upcoming session, not right now. Because it's not possible for me to teach every single option today. It's not possible for you guys to learn every single option in one single session. So regarding these options, we are going to discuss in our upcoming session. So now we can click on Review Plus Create. Now, whenever we click on Review Plus Create, they are going to validate our details. If you have given anything wrong, they will give us validation field. Or if you might be missed something, any mandatory option, those also they will give you validation. And sometimes what happen is, even you have give everything details correct, then also they will do validation. It's rarely happen, but might be if happen with you, just go back to any of the tab and again click on review. If happen with you guys. There. Now the next thing what we need to do it is we have to click on create. But right now in today's session, our time is completed. So I'm not going to click on create. Right now in today's session, we have just understand the few options of virtual machine. In tomorrow's session, I'm going to create this machine again. And then we are going to learn about how to connect to our Windows virtual machine. And after that, we are also going to learn about how to create a Linux virtual machine and how to connect to our Linux virtual machine. So in today's session, we have just understand the option we are not creating right now. In tomorrow's session, we'll have a quick recap and then we'll create a Windows virtual machine and then we will learn about how to connect to our Windows virtual machine and then we can learn about how to create Linux virtual machines. So with this, I'm going to end the session here. But before ending, anyone wants to ask any question, please let me know. Anyone have any question? Okay, no questions. So let's just end the session here. I'm not deleting a resource group. I'm going to keep that resource group because creation of resource group is not chargeable. Resource group is completely free of cost. Other services which we are creating, those are chargeable. So resource group is not chargeable. So I'll just keep it. But even if you want to delete your resource group, here we have a delete resource group button. Then you have to give the resource group name. Let's just delete it. Let's create tomorrow again and click on delete. So we are able to delete our resource group. And one more thing, whenever you're deleting anything in Azure, till the time you're not getting a proper notification like it's deleted, don't close your browsers. Like if I close my browser here, this is going to stop here. So don't close your browser till that time you will not get this type proper notification deleted. So remember this point whenever you're going to practice and when you're going to delete anything after your practice. Okay, no questions. So let's just end the session here. In tomorrow's session, we will learn about how to connect to our Windows machine, and then we can learn about how to create Linux virtual machine and how to connect to Linux virtual machine. Thank you all. Thank you for joining today's session. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Thank you.